Here's my message for today. Now, let's try for more awareness. I covered the mental plane the last time. It's where the ego is, it's primary. That you are able to observe the ego and all its patterns. But the ego just doesn't only operate through the mental plane. It operates through a communication plane. It operates through an emotional plane. It operates through a plane of core vitality, core power in the body, sexuality, and physicality. It operates in all those planes, and all those planes can affect the ego. And it stores memories from all those planes. Now the Manas chakra is that part of the brow, the intelligence chakra, the control center. It is that part of the brow that operates in the material world. That's what the Manas chakra is for. It is connected to all the senses, and it has the power of visualizing, daydreaming as it were. So it has 6 petals as a chakra, and it's an offshoot of the brow chakra, the one that works with the senses. So you gather information through that Manas chakra. And you gather it at every level. And then hopefully, you use the buddhi to decide what all this information is for. It is for purpose. It is for helping you to evolve and grow in consciousness. That's what this information is for. You are on the earth plane to grow in consciousness, not to remain animalistic because you have a brain stem, a reptilian brain. You have a neocortex, which distinguishes the human being from the rest of the animal species. And that allows you to use intellect, but intellect has to be used with virtue. Not in the darkness, but in the light. Not in the tamasic quality and rajasic quality, but in the sattvic quality. Sattva is the peace and love and balance. So that's what the intellect is for. So all the experience that you have on the stage, because the stage applies to the senses and the world around you. All the information there is important for growing. And all your life circumstances, everything, has been created by you. There is no other God but you. And when I say you, not the ego, what lies beyond the ego. The God is within. What did the Christ say? The kingdom of heaven lies within you. He says, in my Father's house there are many mansions. I go prepare a place for you. Every great master says the same. Because they are established in all the planes, even though their bodies in the human world. They are established in all the planes, and they can help you whilst in the human body to rise in consciousness, that you can go to one of those planes where you meet them again. Any master who you followed, who lives in transcendence, you'll meet them again in the other planes. And you have come from some of these planes. Some of you have come from those planes back to be with the masters. And you recognize that the moment you meet the master, this is like home. I know this feeling. But the journey with the master continues. So beside the thinking plane, we have the feeling plane. And I want to say a few words on this. Emotions. Through the feeling plane, we gather information from this field. through all the experiences that draw feelings out of us in the human experience. And we have positive experiences and negative experiences. And some of us tend to think, oh, it's a childhood. Of course it's a childhood. But that was then. What about now? You review your experiences of childhood, and you can do self-therapy because you have the intellect. If you have the help to clear the intellect a little bit and see the emotions that limit you and keep you down, you don't need help from the outside. And even if you just need a little bit to help you to become your own therapist. That's always the best therapist. But look at your emotions: sadness, unworthiness, loneliness, anger, unforgiveness, resentment, hate. And if these take control of you and lead to action, what happens? That is ego in tamas. Tamas driven by rajas. That's what it is. And that is what has us where we are. But the moment there is light, there's understanding. The Bible says, with all thy getting, get understanding. It says wisdom is the greatest thing, therefore seek wisdom. The Gayatri is all about asking that transcendent power to light up the intellect. In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is counseling Arjuna to be wise, to be stable, to not be caught in the senses, to be detached, and to practice. So now we are growing in the field of heart resonance, being able to measure the waves from the heart and to learn to stabilize. We are beginning to learn the mind-heart connection and the waves of the mind, the alpha and the beta and delta and gamma. We are beginning to understand brain waves and how we can influence those brain waves with a heart resonance. So the heart is a field where we pick up information through feelings, but it's also a field where we act from that information. So you have to be super conscious, super aware of where emotions are taking you and whether you are being carried away by them, whether you have given your power away or whether you still have your power. Of course, the person of stable mind and heart is the wise one. So we grow into that. It just doesn't appear like a fruit in a tree to pick or to go into a shop and buy that wisdom. We grow in it. We look for the wise ones who are stable. We question them. We learn from them. And we become like them. And free ourselves from that trap of emotion. That's the purpose. Of course, I want to deal with all the areas of involvement of the mind in the human experience that influences the mind in ego, holding it in bondage. But my words shouldn't just be information to you that you don't use, saying it's an interesting talk, but it is not translated into action. Often I have told you about the 3 steps to wisdom. You hear about it, the truth, or read about it, that's like hearing. You contemplate it until you understand it, and you have good conversations until you understand it. And then you stay with the understanding in the practice, the last part of it. until it becomes part of you, a lifestyle. You see it in the adept musicians or martial arts or athletes. They become it. The body speaks. The emotion speaks. The mind speaks. They're all in harmony. They become. Their visions become a part of them. It has been integrated in the body. So you want to stay with that emotional kind of condition and state that has you stable. So it comes from their awareness that we call equanimity. No attachment, no aversion. Equanimity. Be equanimous. Be objective. Use the intellect. Be equanimous. Live it. Don't be caught in the duality of the human experience. So be unconditionally loving. Unconditionally loving, what does it mean? You love for no reason. There is no season for loving, there is no reason for loving. There is just loving that's manifesting. Like the flower that gives its fragrance freely, like the sun that shines on all, like the fruit tree that gives its fruit to all. Be unconditionally giving. When you open your hand to give, you open your hand to receive. When you close the hands with the little you have, you can't receive anything more. It is in the giving that we receive. Unconditional love. When the Master was asked, how many times should we forgive, Master? Or when a question was asked to him, he said, 70 times 7. That means infinite. And when you learn to use the right emotion in the right situation, we call that emotional intelligence. It requires a whole lot of seeing where emotions take us, and which is the important one to role play in the moment. Some people think that that's faking. It isn't faking. It has been genuine. But you are witnessing the whole play. You're witnessing the genuineness. Because you're witnessing, you are role playing. Because you choose the right emotion to meet with someone, you're role playing. No, you're more than role playing. You're being intelligent. You're witnessing which is the best emotion to create harmony in this space. And you don't become carried away by emotions that you don't need. You use the appropriate emotion in every situation. And that's what we call emotional intelligence. That requires a whole lot of seeing, a whole lot of no judgment, and being appropriate in the moment. And true to self, to the universe. That's emotional intelligence. So be emotionally intelligent today. Be wise. Act with wisdom. Have a happy Thursday, everyone. Don't let the world get to you. Learn to adapt. Learn to be wise. Learn to be emotionally intelligent. Be wise in action. No attachment, no aversion. It's called no rag, no dvesh in the Sanskrit. Be equanimous. The Bhagavad Gita says, samatvam, equanimity, balance, equipoise. Samatvam, yoga uchate. It is said that yoga is equanimity. even-mindedness, balance, be wise. That is the sum of what Krishna taught to Arjuna on the battlefield. Fight this war. Of course, it's a metaphorical war. Fight this war, but be equanimous. So when you meet the battle of life, it's a war like Mahabharata. You meet all kinds of people. Fight with wisdom. Don't be carried away by the ego or the emotions. Have a blessed day, everyone. Happy Taste Day. Namaskar.